of his last 6 MMA bouts. Let's start by welcoming the lady, as the popular saying goes, that ladies first. Kaylee, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. Let's talk about your journey, which is a very incredible journey that kicked off at a tender age of 5 years. What do you still remember about that early age of you showing interest in mixed martial arts?
I remember it like it was yesterday because it was such a strong pull towards my passion. Literally my first ever class that I did, I said I was going to be world champion, and I was completely locked in from day one. I didn't care about trying anything else that all my friends were trying, whether that was ballet or netball or all of the school sports. I was just completely obsessed, which is strange for a 5-year-old, but it's all I ever wanted to do. And yeah, it's been a beautiful journey.
Beautiful journey indeed. Let's also welcome to Africa at Play our other guest, Nkosi Ndebele, who is also an MMA fighter. Nkosi, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Good afternoon on your side. I will say good evening on my side. Thank you so much. It's an honor for me to be talking to you again,
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking about mixed martial arts. Just for the interest of our listeners, mixed martial arts is quite a big umbrella. Let's break it down to some of the disciplines or options that one finds in mixed martial arts, but also perhaps to explain it to our listeners when talking MMA. What precisely are we talking about?
Well, the word says it, mixed martial arts. So any form of martial arts that you know of, karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, so MMA is a mixture of every form. Kung Fu also, it doesn't matter what your base is. When it comes to MMA, we accept everyone, but you come with your base foundation, and then you obviously have to learn other martial arts as well, so that you become a complete MMA fighter, because kickboxing just doesn't work on its own, wrestling cannot work on its own, boxing on its own cannot work, so you need to mix it together so that you can have this beautiful sport which is called mixed martial arts, and that's the beauty of it.
Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed, but also taking care of our listeners. We wouldn't want them to tune out because they are a bit lost, but you've put it out there very well. Let's talk about Middle East. What's your experience of Middle East?
It's beautiful, man. What I've realized is when I came this side, it's a career. People take it as a career. You leave out of it. It's a full-time thing. You go full-time when you're doing MMA, and they support it fully. With nothing bad, compared to the African, culture, or the African parents, that when you do sports, they don't consider it something that you can actually live out of it. They want you to become a doctor or a nurse or anything, but in the Middle East, the sport, when you're an MMA fighter, you have the respect, you have the honor, like, wow, you're really an MMA fighter, and then it puts you out there, it builds your confidence, you want to work hard, you want to work even more, and you can build a beautiful life out of it, so, slowly but surely it's changing also, in Africa, and that's good. That's why we have opportunities of big organization coming through.
We are talking to Nkosi Ndebele together with Kaylee Nidamaya, who are MMA fighters, mixed martial arts fighters. Let's bring back Kaylee to the conversation. Kaylee, when last did you have a fight and how did it go?
I fought in April, so not too long ago, and I won via decision against Rebecca Amongi from Uganda. It was a fun fight. Took a little while for me to warm up, but then we initiated the game plan and did what we needed to do to get the win and secure the win.
There's Extreme Fighting Championship, EFC, in South Africa, which is Extreme Fighting Championship Africa. What is your experience of EFC?
My last fight was at EFC, and EFC is an amazing platform for our South African athletes. And I have had a great experience competing out of them, but I'm also super excited about the fact that this big organization being PFL is in Africa, because I really think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for us as South African fighters. And like Nkosi was saying, it's hard as an athlete in South Africa to just be an athlete. And I think with these global promotions being in the country, it's going to become more of a thing that athletes can focus on being athletes and not having to split their energy between a lot of different things.
We are in a conversation of mixed martial arts, MMA, with two MMA fighters, Kaylee Nidamaya, together with Nkosi Ndebele. Good people, please just stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues with the two incredible mixed martial arts fighters, Nkosi Ndebele and Kaylee Nidamaya. This is Africa at Play. Astelel Siashai.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Hawa wa Afrika Kusini wenye asili ya kizungu ambao wamepewa ukimbizi huko nchini Marekani. Je, nini chanzo cha wao kuomba ukimbizi nchini Marekani?
Wenyewe wajaomba ukimbizi. Kuna shirika fulani inaitwa AfriForum, shirika mbili za wazungu ambao wanatetea haki ya wazungu hapa, AfriForum na Solidarity. Hao walienda Marekani kufanya kampeni kusema kwamba wazungu wananyanyaswa hapa Afrika Kusini, na walizofanya hiyo kampeni serikali iweze kuwafuatilia kujua nini ambacho mnasema kwamba mnanyanyaswa.
Kuna namna ya wao kwamba wamepoteza uraia wa Afrika Kusini, na je, endapo Trump akamaliza muda wake madarakani, uhalali wao wa kuishi nchini Marekani ukoje?
Itakuwa vigumu, kifupi itakuwa vigumu wenyewe kupoteza uraia wao.
Darubini ya Afrika 11 kamili hadi 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:12 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play, live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, worry not, you can access us from anywhere you are on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC+. We are still talking to the great MMA fighters, that is Smiley Savage, Kaylee Nidamaya, together with Nkosi Ndebele. Nkosi, let's bring you back to the conversation. I've heard Kaylee mentioning that the last time she fought was in April. Realistically, in a year that comprises 12 months, how many times can an MMA fighter have a fight?
So, if you really are injury free, you don't have any severe injuries, and you're able to get into the cage and come out there without any severe injuries that need you time to rest, man, you can fight as much as you want, and if the opportunity with the organization that you are assigned to is there and they're giving you fights, you can go all out. But the best that I can say for me as an MMA fighter, I feel good if I can at least fight 4 times a year, just in 1 year. For me, that's enough. That's me working. That's me really pushing. But sometimes you can fight twice, 3 times. But for me, 4 times, that will be like a good push, for an MMA fighter. And because at the end of the day, we want to fight. That's what we signed up to do. So we want to fight as much as we can. Before our time runs out. Because we're aging.
When last did you have a fight and how did it go?
So the last time I had a fight was in December in Bahrain against my fellow African brother Nicholas Wende. It was a title fight and I lost it to him. He took it. Nicholas, if you're listening to me, I'll give you the belt and then you let it go again. Next time I see you, I'm going to slap you in the face. But yeah, it happened. I would have loved that the belt remained, in the hands of, my African brother, but it is what it is. Right now, I'm happy. I wouldn't change anything. I'm excited for my own future and my journey, and I'm excited for the new things that are coming, man.
That's the voice of Nkosi Ndebele, an MMA fighter, and we also have Kaylee Nidamaya, also known as Smiley Savage. Kaylee, how did you acquire that nickname, Smiley Savage?
Everyone always asks me that, but I think it's because I'm the face of innocence. No, I'm joking. But I generally like being a nice person. I like being kind. I always have a smile on my face, and I enjoy training. So even though training can be serious, I'll always be the one smiling, and I just love what I do. And this has transferred to moments in fights where I've had the biggest grin on my face in the middle of a very challenging situation. So yeah, that's where Smiley Savage came in. And Savage obviously is because I'm going to smile while I hit you in the head, or elbow you in the head, or inflict whatever damage I need to. And the same goes, if you're giving me a good time, that's what I signed up for. I signed up to test myself as a fighter, and when the going gets rough, that's where I get the chance to truly test myself. So it makes me happy because that's what we're pursuing at the end of the day.
I believe there's nothing wrong with copying, provided you copy a good thing. While we have Nkosi Ndebele as a fellow mixed martial arts fighter himself, what is it that you would like to ask him that you think could help you to improve as a mixed martial arts fighter? Because you still have a journey ahead of you where you are going to come across tricky fighters, and perhaps he could just share a trick that could help you in the future.
I'm always open ears to tips. This game is interesting in that we also individual, and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the next. So when you can learn from everyone's experiences around you and then take what you need to, and what kind of resonates with you to inspire you, or give you something in the hard times, then that's really helpful. So I'm always open ears to suggestions and sharing something that's meaningful. I would like to know what's meaningful to him in his MMA journey, because it will be interesting to me on how I resonate with that.
There you have it, Nkosi. What's meaningful to you in your MMA journey?
What's meaningful to me in my MMA journey is my mindset. My mindset matters a lot, because my mindset, my body, me in general, because without me being okay mentally, without me being focused, without me pushing myself, without me showing up at the gym every day, without me allowing my coaches to coach me and help me, without me not allowing myself to work with my team, there wouldn't be any of what I've achieved or accomplished. So at the end of the day, I have to be 100% healthy. I have to be 100% strong. I have to be okay so that the rest can happen. If I'm not okay, then nothing will happen. If my mindset is not in a good space, it doesn't matter, and I don't want to fix that. It doesn't matter what my coaches tell me. It doesn't matter what motivation comes from my family or whatever. If my mindset is not in a good space and I don't want to, I'm not willing to fix that. If I don't want to train, if I don't want to teach up, or if I don't want to do any of that, then I won't produce the result. Because at the end of the day, if I'm okay, then it's easier for the people and my team to work together with me. So the well-being of me, myself as a fighter, is the most meaningful thing ever.
And what would you like to ask Kaylee Nidamaya?
Kaylee, how do you feel when you get punched in the face?
Like I said, it actually just excites me, because now I'm like, game on. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to find my limits. I test if I am who I say I am, which is tough and scary, and that's my chance to show it and prove it to myself. And it just excites me because that's what I'm here for, and I'm getting the opportunity to do what I love.
Exciting indeed. We are talking to Nkosi Ndebele and Kaylee Nidamaya, the two MMA fighters, mixed martial arts fighters. Nkosi, you've last fought in December. We are now in June, halfway through the year of 2025. What have you been up to for this past 6 months? And according to our knowledge, you will be having a fight against Atef on the 19th of July. Does this imply officially this will be your first fight for the year?
Yebo. Oh man, the excitement that I have coming to this fight. For the last 6 months, man, I just needed a direction. That's one thing I've been working on, leaving my previous organization and, having this opportunity to join PFL, which is one of the biggest organizations that we have to date. It's an amazing journey. It's a dream come true for me. And for the last 6 months, man, it hasn't been nothing but just joy for me and the excitement of training and making sure that, I stay injury free, my body's healed. And, I've had my time, man. I've been ready from, I don't know how long I've been ready, but now I just need to get in there and dance inside the cage. And there has been a wonderful 6 months, challenging mentally because, change is never easy, but, we always expect the best out of it. And right now I'm excited and I cannot wait. 19th of July is going down in Cape Town against Mahmoud Atif. I'm going to run through these guys. I don't care what happens. I'm the king. I'm the king of Africa. I rule the African continent. That's my kingdom. So I'm excited for this. And let's go.
Let's go. That's Nkosi Ndebele for you. Looking forward to his fight at the Professional Fighters League, PFL, taking place in Cape Town, South Africa's Western Cape province on the 19th of July. We also have Kaylee Nidamaya, the Smiley Savage, on the line. Please do stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, we will wrap up our conversation on mixed martial arts with the two great fighters, Kaylee Nidamaya and Nkosi Ndebele. This is Africa at Play. Asteleli Siashaya.
You heard something you like on Channel Africa and you would like to hear it again? Worry not, we've got your back. Just go to our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, and look for our podcast. In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
14:23 Central African Time. You are still tuned in to Africa's number one, Africa at Play. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet, channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere in the world on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC Plus. We still have Nkosi Ndebele and Kaylee Nidamaya, the two mixed martial arts fighters. Kaylee, talking about the mixed martial arts and the Professional Fighters League, PFL, that Nkosi is so excited about, where he will be fighting against Atef on the 19th of July. Will you be also involved in the PFL?
Yes, so I'm fighting on the same night, on the 19th of July. And I'm just going to repeat what he said. It's a dream come true and an honor to be part of this historical event of being part of the first PFL card in Africa. So it's really, really exciting for our combat sports community. And I'm honored to be the first woman on the PFL Africa South African women on the first PFL Africa event. And I'm thrilled about the opportunity. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
What are some of the highlights of your career as Smiley Savage?
This is one for sure. This upcoming fight is definitely a highlight. And then a lot of people don't know the story behind each fight. They see a fight and they think that what they see is how it went down. And there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes and in the journey and in the process. So I faced some obstacles in some of my build-ups and some of my fights. And for me, it's been highlights to be able to overcome some of those obstacles and still get in there, do what I love in moments where I thought I might not be able to. Those have been really special moments for me and highlights in my career, and to be able to share wins despite obstacles with my team and my family and the people that support me, those are really special moments for me.
What do you do ahead of a fight like the upcoming Professional Fighters League Africa PFL occasion coming up on the 19th of July in terms of knowing your opponent? What do you look forward to in terms of that research of wanting to know what kind of opponent you're looking forward to joining on the hexagon?
So between myself and my team and my coaches, we do watch footage that we have accessible on our opponents and study what we think their weaknesses, what their strengths are, and formulate an idea of what we want to do. But at the end of the day, as a martial artist, I'm always working on myself and working on developing my skill set to be the most complete it can be. So whatever she brings on the day, because whatever we've studied, she could have also worked on herself, improved, and she might be bringing a whole different fighter. But as long as I keep working on myself, whatever she brings, we're going to be ready for.
Mm-hmm.
Any message of support to Nkosi Ndebele, who will be fighting on that same event?
Yes, all the best. Go out there and just have fun. And I'm sure we're going to share in the joy of this amazing experience that is PFL coming to Africa.
Before we say goodbye to Kaylee Nidamaya, let's also bring back Nkosi Ndebele to share a message of support to Kaylee Nidamaya. Nkosi, what would you like to say to the Smiley Savage ahead of the 19th of July?
Go out there and shine. It's your time. Don't let anyone take away this moment from you. At the end of the day, have fun and enjoy. It's nothing different. You've been into the cage before. It's just the name PFL and the big stage, but all in all, is the cage is still the same. So just go out there and be the Smiley Savage that you always are. And, make yourself proud, make your family proud, and make the whole country proud. Make Africa proud.
Thank you, you too.
That's the voice of Nkosi Ndebele wishing a fellow fighter, Kaylee Nidamaya, all the best. They will be participating at the inaugural Professional Fighters League PFL Africa event that will be taking place at the mother city in Cape Town, South Africa's Western Cape province. Kaylee, thank you so much for an incredible conversation on Africa at Play. Nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's also wrap up with Nkosi Ndebele, the man who's experienced the Middle East and the African continent, very passionate about Africa. Nkosi, what are you looking forward to on the 19th of July, considering that you've been outside of the hexagon or outside of the cage for quite some time? You need every energy, every great attitude heading into this big fight.
Yes. But most importantly, I'm excited because it's been years since I fought in South Africa, and I think this is the opportunity for me to connect with my fellow brothers, my fellow South Africans, my fellow community of MMA enthusiastic people who love the MMA. Because I feel like me being outside of Africa, didn't give me an opportunity to connect with them. So this is an opportunity for me to really connect with them, showcase my skills in front of them, my friends, my family, So this is going to be good. I'm really, really excited. And I would like to really invite each and every fellow South African, if they can make it, please purchase your tickets. Ngiyanicela, ngiyanibawola awustem, please do come out and let's support, let's show love onto this sport, because the more we show love onto this sport now, PFL will be also motivated to come back and do more such of these events, and then it will give opportunities to our young upcoming fighters, to also get the opportunity to explore and showcase their skills. So please come out, and if you already bought your tickets, thank you so much. I'll see you there on the 19th of July, and we're gonna dance and have fun.
We're going to dance and have fun. Those are the words of Nkosi Ndebele, our mixed martial arts fighter who will be part of the inaugural PFL Africa Professional Fighters League that will be taking place in Cape Town, South Africa on the 19th of July. So Nkosi, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. All the best. Continue with that strong mentality. An African child can benefit big ways from it.
Yeah, boy. Thank you so much.
14:30 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our mixed martial arts MMA conversation with Nkosi Ndebele and Kaylee Nidamaya, who will be part of the Professional Fighters League Africa, PFL Africa. Some of the fighters of bouts that will be happening on the day in the Bantam first round. Ndebele will be taking on Atef, and Jantu Nana will be taking on Krogihe. And in the Bantam first round, we'll have Van Donder taking on Godoko, as well as Awa, who will be taking on Tlake from South Africa. And there's also Dos Santos, who will be taking on Henine. And the list is endless of many other bouts. Kane will go against Ben Yahia, as well as Yokonya, who will be taking on Majoriki. And there's Medkori, who will be taking on Babli. And in the women bout, we've got in the strawweight division, we've got Uka, who will be taking on Nidamaya. That's Kaylee Nidamaya that we just spoke to. It's time for Africa and the world to have a moment of dancing with an African sound. As you know, Africans never disappoint. It doesn't matter the industry we are in, whether it's sport, whether it's music, whether it's arts and culture, we are just meant to excel. African Beauty featuring Omarion by Diamond Platinums. This is Africa at Play.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
It's Chris with the drama by
1. Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique, with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique, with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique, with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9.
The African continent is an intriguing one as we are talking about football associations who are mostly dependent on the government funding for various activities that are involved in running football in different African countries. And we are asking the big question, what can these football associations do differently in terms of fundraising initiatives and different other ways of making certain that they are sustainable and they do not over depend on different governments in their respective countries. You would recall that the mother body of football globally, FIFA, always says to governments that they cannot interfere in the running of football in their respective countries. However, when a government is the sponsor of that football association, there's always that glitch where you do not know whether it is interference or intervention. Let's now go to Lusaka, Zambia, and find out from our correspondent correspondent Namuchana, who is having a conversation with the pundits of football in Zambia about this exciting topic. Thank you for choosing Africa at Play as Deleli Siashaya. Do drop us a WhatsApp or voice note with your thoughts on the number +27 63 406 9126.
African football associations depend on governments for funding for various activities. What are some of the fundraising ventures that football associations can embark on so that they become financially independent and avoid the over-dependency on government funding? This is our topic today. I have with me Wezi Mazunda, sports analyst. Wezi, thank you so much for taking time to talk to Channel Africa. Wezi, we are looking at African football associations. What are some of the fundraising ventures that they can embark on so that that financial dependence on governments can come to an end?
You know, government has a lot of challenges. There are a lot of competing factors that government has to go through. And I've always said that sports is money. Sports is it's a venture that can contribute to the growth of a country's economy. That is the first point. As soon as government starts to look at this side of things, then it's going to be easier, because now when the FAs sit down with government and start giving them the financial plans of how much money is going to come in, it's going to be government will easily, if they're able to. Not all governments are able to support. There are some governments that are able to give total support, good infrastructure, proper funding of the teams, everything is in place in the country, hosting of international events, you know, the perfect model picture, e.g. Morocco. So, and many others, like they're the model for Africa right now. What the FAs need to do, this is the responsibility of the FAs. For the FAs, firstly, you are professional, you have to be accountable, then you have to be responsible, firstly, when you sit down. Then, secondly, you need to strategize how best you bring in money into football. Football is big money. FIFA has made us see this. FIFA has opened our eyes. Look at the current competition that's going on right now, the World Cup. Let's say it's a few teams. Now it's 32 teams. It's now being hosted like a World Cup, tournament. It's a tournament of 32 teams competing with a lot of prize money. A champion's getting 40 million United States dollars. For winning a game, you get 2 million. For drawing a game, you get 1 million. That's big money. That is big money for a football club that is focused. So it's all about strategizing. What FAs need to start doing is sit down and start strategizing and putting up a plan and putting it to work as soon as possible. 1, support men's football and women's football equally. Equal investment of finances, equal opportunities, everything equal, 50-50, men and women. That is the beginning. That is where the money is. Both of them will bring money, put it at the table. Even development should be in same phases. The proper things you do for the men's team, the proper things you do for the women's team. Point number 1. Then we go to what needs to be done. Players that we have in Africa, they've got money. Those who play in Europe, the professionals everywhere. Don't even disregard a country just because the player is playing in country, maybe playing abroad, but it's in Africa, playing abroad. Don't overlook those things. As long as the player playing professional, that is money. Money for the nation, money for football. Money that can be tapped into to develop Africa. Football in a particular FA in Africa itself, we can do it ourselves. So this is a situation where every professional player contributes in a revolving fund that is in the FA. They put money there. Everybody, female, male players, put monies in this revolving fund. And then when there's anything that's needed, that monies that need to go toward the youth, maybe for the youth team, for the national team, just for football in general, you tap into that fund. Obviously, you have to write down what the do's and the don'ts, what needs to be done, and everything, the guidelines on how to use those resources. Tap into the resources of these players. Sit them down. Let them see the importance of investing in themselves, because this is going to help them in the long run. Second model, who do you look at? The supporters. This is a fan base. When you love your country, when you're patriotic, you go, you see those millions of fans who support their teams. Get the fans to love you. Get the fans to love the national teams of the country. When they come to the team and support, tell them, put money here. They will put it for the love of the nation, for the love of the team. Put money. And don't tell them, put so much money. No, that as little as a coin. Millions of coins will give you more money. Those with a lot of money who are able to give generously, let them give. Those who don't have so much money, let them give for patriotism, for love, for investment, so that we help football grow. You help the FAs, you help the government, because government and FAs work hand in hand. When they sit down, they'll support each other. When money comes into the country, when money is made, it's obviously going to stay in the country. It's for the country. It's for the country, and then you'll make it. So there it is. First is the players themselves, the ones in the front line who are playing football. Next is the supporters who come to the crowds to come and support these teams. Number 3 model, the football clubs. The football clubs that you have wealth. I've just been talking about the World Club Championships, World Cup for clubs that's being held in the United States right now. That is serious money. Where you have a situation where you earn 40 million as a champion of that tournament. Yes, it may not start now for a team from Africa. Maybe even just reaching quarterfinals is huge. That's big money. Even just reaching the semifinals, it's big. That's huge. You start planning today. You start planning now to get to that stage, to put your hands on that money, to get your hands on that money. That money is coming where? To the country. Government is celebrating. The FAs are celebrating. Who's bringing those monies? It's the FAs. So what happens? The football clubs work together with the FA. Invest into those clubs. Have proper structures, have proper strategies, have proper marketing structures. Everything sits down. Money must come to the FA. Start winning so that when that money comes into the country, it's coming into the country. It's coming to that football club, yes, but it is coming into the country. And obviously, everybody will be able to tap into, starting from the football club, and to trickle down. Obviously, I say there are people who work at the football club. Eventually, that money comes in. There's obviously the issue of taxes and everything. But it's a good thing because all in all, everybody is helping each other. Government, where they're able to get something, invest into this football, knowing that when you go out there as football, as a club, as a national team, you go and bring in the good results and bring them to the country, win those good prize monies, the hefty prize monies. They come into the country, they bring development, they bring economic development even into the country in general. So it's a win-win situation for the clubs and for the FAs, the football clubs, and for the government itself. Finally, to the national teams, the FA, when these monies start coming in, the FA, before I go to the aspect of the FAs, is the national teams. On the national teams, that is where the corporate sponsorship comes in. National teams, even clubs, but clubs will do their own marketing. National teams, let's win. Africa, let us begin to work to win. Let us have strategies to win. Let us invest heavily in proper infrastructure. Our teams, our players should train in a proper place. Let's give them psychologists. They should be well built to think. Let's bring these technological advancements to football. Let's give football. Let's invest monies and everything good for football. When the money is coming, like I've talked about the players and the clubs and everything, FA puts the monies together. When you put those monies to invest in the teams, invest in the players, then you have the best players in the world housed in your countries. Then with these best players of the world who improve the football together with their teammates, with proper coaches. When you have these proper coaches, even homegrown, develop them. If you want to bring in from outside, tell them that what you want is for you to win, and to win big, to win titles. When you win titles, you must not fall easily. Today you win a title, tomorrow you're number 5, number 6. No, you win a title. Next time, if you bow out, if you fail to defend the title, you are going to be a runner-up who will lose with honor. Worst case scenario. But best case scenario, you are winning the title, you are defending the title, fighting to defend the title and to win the prize money, the good prize money that's coming in. With that, what happens back home? Sponsors are seeing you. When the sponsors come and say they want to engage you as an FA, what do? The next thing you start talking about is corporate social investment, not this business of social corporate responsibility where they come in and they give you anything that they can. And no, it's about them bringing in money and you helping them grow that money because you're a brand. Football now is a big brand. I mean, look, if football can produce a player on the pitch, we're looking at George Weah from Liberia, who was a World Footballer of the Year once upon a time, then became president of a country. I mean, if football can produce that, that is money. Sponsors should buy into such visions. You have former players who've been African Footballers of the Year. We have our very own here in Zambia, Kalusha Bwalia. We also have Samuel Eto'o. Well, Kalusha Bwalia is the former president of the FA, the Zambian FA. Samuel Eto'o is the current president of the Cameroon FA. I mean, that is what you want to see, a career path of a player who's come out from being a player, then eventually go into administration and become a president. We hope to see that in women football as well. The Tembi Katlanas from Banyana, the Barbara Bandas, they also need to be ambitious, and eventually we need to see them in top positions. I mean, that's going to be good for football. So those are brands that you sell out there to say, no, football has something to give at the table. So like for women's football back here in Zambia, another example I can give is we have Barbara Banda and Rachel Kundananji, two of the most expensive players in the world recently. The they broke records. I mean, from Africa. I mean, they were the first player to come from Africa. I mean, those are brands, like serious brands. Why not invest in women's football too? You know, just as you invest in men's football and invest in women's football. So this is a very good, beautiful topic. I love it. I love such topic. Africa, we can do it. African FAs, money we can make, money will make. Africa is successful. Let's keep winning. Thank you so much.
Wezi, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to us. Wezi Mazunda, sports analyst. We also got the views of Chandalusha, former Zambia national soccer team player.
We've seen FAs totally depending on the government for football funding, but this is not the case with the other countries. Talking about Europe, even some of the African FAs have come up with different means on how to source money, on how to fundraise and remain stable. But if you totally depend on the government, sometimes it won't work well with you. You'll be disappointed at some time because there are major tournaments which need a lot of funding. If you depend totally on the government, then it will be a mountain to climb. So you need to source your own funds. What do? You get to the root of it. Try by all means to raise money in whichever way. There are so many devices that you can do, so many things that you can do by selling, replicas. You just have a stable, ground where you can build up from. Like here in Africa, of course, money is a bit of a problem. So we need to go the way of, start sustaining ourselves. What do we do? How do we make money? Sit around the table, find the marketers, those who are good in doing market, those who are good in finding, sponsorship. If we can have 2, 4, 3, 5 companies, sponsoring African football, the FAs will be spare. At least they will have something to get and somewhere to lean on. But if you totally depend on the government, you put an overload. In an event that government has so many days to clear, how are you going to revamp your soccer? So we need to do things. I give an example, of Morocco. If you see the Moroccan setup, starting from the grassroots, they have involved all the orders, those who are able, to pump in money, and things are moving in Morocco. Each and every stage, there is a sponsor, there is, money. Talk of the senior national team. Talk of the FAs have no problem. The FA, in Morocco, they don't have any problem in as far as money is concerned, because money is there in their coffers. There's a lot of money because they have done a lot on the ground, bringing, companies, major companies, together, look into the issue. They find factors. They know at the end of the day, if they qualify to the World Cup, they will be able to get something. They could qualify to major tournaments. They will be able, to bring money in their own country. This is the way where the FAs have to go. So if we remain dormant, we'll remain at the same place. If we don't think outside the box, then it will be very difficult to raise, no money. It will be very difficult even just to take the team to go and play an international game, an international friendly match, or going to the tournament. You go late because you don't have the money. But if you have the money in place, it's very easy, to work around the clock and see things moving smoothly in as far as football is concerned here in Africa. So the FAs, this is the time they need to rise up, to the occasion and try by all means to find, sponsorship, more especially companies. I'll give in Africa, there's so many companies with oil, the oil, the diamonds. Why can't you involve those major stakeholders? And I'm sure they won't give it a no, because they want to be on the market for each and every time. It's one way of, advertising and, the company being seen around the world, around Africa, that indeed this is the company which is pumping money in FA. So it's time for us to rise up as African FAs to look beyond the government, because the government will only have a limited amount of money. So the rest you need to, to be funding on your own. So my plea is that let us put up our socks, African FAs. Let's try by all means go back to the drawing board, look around which companies, which businesses that we can do that can bring money on the table and move on, because football is business nowadays. Sponsor just a club with something else. If we come to club level, what about the national team? So the FAs need to pull up their socks and rise to the occasion, to eat that indeed total dependence on the government is less. Thank you.
The views of Chanda Rusha there. Today we were looking at a very interesting topic. We were looking at the African Football Association's continuous dependency on government funding. We were asking what are some of the fundraising ventures that the football associations can embark on so that they become financially independent and avoid the over dependency on government funding. We are Wezi Mazunda and Chanda Rusha for Channel Africa Sports. Namchana from Zambia.
For 57 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, worry not, you can access us from anywhere you are on channelafrica.co.za. Also available at your fingertips on SABC+. Please do make time to visit our Channel Africa website. Should you miss out on any of our conversations, you click on programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you can be able to access those conversations. By all means, you can listen when you have time to do so. We now welcome to Africa at Play Namuchana, our correspondent from Lusaka, Zambia. So Namuchana, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all our listeners in Africa and everywhere, wherever they could be listening us from. It's a great day here, and thank you so much for having me, Neto.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play, Namuchana. Before we even get further, let's start with our topic of the day, where you got to speak to the pundits of football in Zambia, including Wezi Mazunda, a sports journalist. What are your personal thoughts on our topic of the day, where we are talking about football associations on the African continent that are depending mostly on government funding for various activities, running of the FAs, which is a dangerous way of doing things, because if you are not sustainable, if you are not independent, you will always be predicted, you will always be discriminated how to run your affairs if you do not have a voice of independence. What are your thoughts on this topic of the day, and what do you think could be the mechanisms in terms of fundraising initiatives and many other mechanisms that can ensure that FAs run independently and do not rely on government funding, especially because government also have a lot on their plates and it becomes unfair at times to rely on them for everything?
Yeah, like those colleagues of ours who are highly educated, they would always say look, whoever buys your food controls you, because whatever they say, you are going to follow. So this is the scenario that most of the African FAs, they find themselves, and it is high time that this overdependence that we have seen, it comes to an end. There is absolutely no way that most of African football associations are still dependent on governments for funding. It is something that I've always failed to understand, Neto. Like the former Zambia national soccer team player, Mr. Chandalusha, was saying there, we have a lot of companies that are doing their businesses on the African continent. We have big companies like mining giants. We have got banks. We have got companies that are into various business activities. What I've always failed to understand is, why is it so difficult for these football associations on the African continent to go out there to partner with these multinational companies that are operating on the African continent? I don't think look, football, it is big business now. Football is a big brand. Everyone out there wants to associate themselves with football, including companies. Whatever you are selling, provided it has got that tag of football, people will buy into it. People will buy it. So it is, maybe we need to change the way we do things. We need to change our mindset. Those who are running football on the African continent, they should know that football, it is a business. It is like me, Neto, if I want to start a business, maybe I want to open a shop. First of all, I'll need to find money. I'll need to have the knowledge on how I'm going to run my shop, how I'm going to be making profits and the anticipated losses. And that. You cannot go into business if you're completely blank in your head. It is practically impossible. So even these people are running a football on the African continent. You can't go and contest the elections to become the FA boss at the end of the day, you have absolutely no idea on how to generate resources that will help the Football Association run independently. This is the more reason why we have seen a lot of African affairs NATO getting into trouble with various governments, because they will do something that those who are running political offices, maybe they don't agree with, and they will come in, they'll say, look, if you're not going to do this, we'll make sure that you don't receive funding. At the end of the day, the big brother out there, and this is FIFA, will step in to say this is interference. It is high time that we change the way we do things as Africans. This idea of depending on government for funding should just come to an end, Neto. Like you rightly put it there. Government is a big institution, and it has a lot on its plate. You are talking, each and every government out there, Neto, every year, they sit down, they write their national budgets on how they are going to distribute the resources, how they are going to make sure that the national cake is shared equally. So all the ministries, like here in Zambia, they normally come up with a budget in September. It is debated in Parliament. It is approved by December. By January the 1st, all the ministries, including our very own Minister of Sports here, they receive their share for that particular financial year. So it is from that money that the Minister of Sports also gets a bit of some money, and it gives the Football Association of Zambia. They give associations like Karate Association of Zambia and all other sporting codes that we have. So they should just learn on how best they can come up with fundraising ventures. Okay, I'll take you back a bit, Neto. When Andrew Kamanga was the Football Association of Zambia president, all along, Neto, I can tell you that FAS used to go into agreements with companies like Nike for the supplying of boots, jerseys, tracksuits, balls, and that kind of stuff. So when Kamanga came in, he said, look, for us to make sure that we don't waste a lot of money, we are more financially independent and prudent with the resources that we have. He came up with his own idea that Zambia should have its own brand of jerseys, boots, and footballs. And he named the jersey that Zambia is using now as Copa. So Zambia has stopped using other brands out there. And Kamanga claimed to say, just from this, we have managed to save millions of kwacha. Those are the initiatives that each and everybody out there should come up with. If they are able to come up with ventures like Neto, they come up with these shops. I don't know how to put it for a lack of a better term, where we see, like in England, we've got clubs like Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG. They have shops where they sell their merchandise, and they make money like that. Why can't football associations on the African continent open? I've never seen a shop here in Zambia. I don't know about South Africa, I don't know about Zimbabwe, I don't know about Egypt, but I've never seen a shop here in Zambia to say this shop is owned by the Football Association of Zambia. When you walk into this shop, you are able to buy a replica jersey, you are able to buy a cap, you are able to buy soccer boots in here, you are able. I've never seen such. So this is what we need. Much as they keep on complaining about government interference, yes, governments will continue to interfere in football because they are the ones who are funding football on the African continent, Neto.
Namachana, our correspondent from Lusaka, Zambia, raising valid points indeed. And so, Namachana, just to your point, I was just thinking out of the box. You know, like in South Africa, the players that have affiliated under different regions of the mother body of football, SAFA, which is the South African Football Associations, every player has to have a name tag or an access card that allows them, or a player card that identifies them as a player, to say Neto Chemane plays under Mohali City as an example, and plays under Safa, West Rand, whatever the case may be. And imagine how many players in those youth levels that have to have those player cards that needs to be identified. You're talking about thousands and thousands of players. Now, if a company like that is owned by the Football Association, then you are not working at a loss of going to pay for those cards to be produced by an outside company or to be manufactured by an outside company. Because look at it this way, Neto plays under Mohali City this year, and then after a while, Neto gets a professional contract and goes to Europe. But then someone else comes in and joins in Neto's place, which means that player also needs a card. So it's an ongoing business where you will always have to manufacture the player cards. And in that way, if the Football Association is the one producing or manufacturing, you are not working alone. So these are just some of the ideas that the football associations on the African continent can consider to avoid that financial bleed. Thank you so much for your contribution. Let's continue with our conversation. Nora Hoptlele, the mentor of the Copper Queens of Zambia, named her 24-member squad. I was talking to one of the Zambian ladies based in South Africa who is into sports marketing and very passionate about football in Africa, Ashley Nakazwe from the Copper Belt. And she shows no confidence in Zambia making it to the final, because I was saying you can never write off the Copper Queens of Zambia. They could just make it to the top four or the last four, or even make it to the finals. And if you remember, in 2022, Zambia made it as far as the last four of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. What are your thoughts on the 24-member squad by Nora Hoptlele, and what confidence do you have on the Copper Queens?
Yeah, this is a great squad that Nora has picked, because when you look at the players, you are looking at players like Ngambo Musole, from Green Buffaloes, great goalkeeper indeed. And you are talking of Martha Tembo, Shobo Mwemba, Margaret Beremu. These are the best defenders that we have as at now. So you can't ask for anything better than this. And I believe that this is the best team that Nora has assembled. Though I have to point out this. Most of these players that Nora has picked, these are the players that the former coach who was relieved of his duties, Bruce Mape. These are the players that Bruce Mape nurtured. These are the players that used to play under Bruce Mape. So personally, there is nothing new. Though it is a bit disappointing, I'll tell you that as much as the squad has been maintained, with a few additions here and there, we are not seeing that flair that we used to see under our very own Bruce Mape. From the time that Nora came to coach the Copper Queens, I wouldn't speak for other people, but personally, I haven't been convinced with a style of play. They are even failing to string passes together. You can't even tell what kind of system they are playing. The formations, their football just looks jumbled up, and it just looks like yo-yo football. So we are yet to see what kind of football that Nora is bringing to the Copper Queens, and I'm not convinced that they are going to go even up to the semi-finals this time around. I don't think so. I'm not convinced, and I'm yet to see the best of the Copper Queens under Coach Nora. And I'm one person who even came out in the open and said this idea of firing Bruce Mape was just a bad idea altogether, because this is the coach who qualified Zambia to the same current WAFCON, Bruce Mwape qualified the Copper Queens for the very first time to the FIFA World Cup. Bruce Mwape qualified Zambia back-to-back to the Olympics. But in their own wisdom, in the Football Association of Zambia, they saw it fit just to relieve him of his duties, and they have brought Nora. I'm not trying to be judgmental here. I'm not trying to judge Nora. We have to wait and see. Maybe she's trying to build something that will be very different from what we used to see under Bruce Mwape. But personally, I'm not convinced with her style of play. You know, she came out last time. She said, "Look, my players they have to jail," and she said she was equally disappointed with the way the players that play outside the country, like Rachel Kundananji, Barbara Band, and the rest, the way they have failed to gel with the rest of the team. So it is a kind of a situation that is a bit confusing for now, but hope is not lost. We just have to see and rally behind the team. But to say that they will go even up to the semis or up to the final maybe, or just lifting the trophy itself, I think it is just taking like too far in this case, Neto.
Namuchana, our correspondent based in Lusaka, Zambia, talking to us on Africa at Play on all things Zambian and African sport. 15:14 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. To those who loves the game of football, at halftime, Burundi women are going down by a goal-to-0 against South Sudan at the ongoing Sekafa Championship. And Tanzania women will be taking on Kenya women at 1700 Central African Time. In the South African promotional playoffs matches taking place, Kazakh Stars will be taking on Obit College. Kazakh Stars of Vumeri, which means the Believers are from Limpopo, and Obit College is from the country's northwest province. Another team added to this mini tournament of promotional playoffs is Cape Town City from Cape Town, which is the team that has been playing in the Elite League, and the team that makes it with the maximum points will make it to be part of the Betway Premiership. If Cape Town City walks away, the victors, they will remain, but if not, whoever between the Kazakh Stars and Obit College makes it with maximum points will get a position in the Betway Premiership in the 2025-2026 season. In the FIFA Club World Cup that is currently ongoing, we have exciting news from the African continent. Esperance de Tunis won by a 1-0 against Los Angeles FC yesterday, and Wydad will be playing Juventus tomorrow, while Mamelodi Sundowns is playing at 1800 against Borussia Dortmund. Let's find out what are the thoughts of Namuchana. So Namuchana, the African continent can be counted amongst the competitors when it comes to the FIFA Club World Cup, unlike before where we had no hope on the African continent, but the game has really developed to a competitive stage where you know that any of the African side stands a better chance to show the world what Africa is made up of. Your thoughts on the run so far of the FIFA Club World Cup?
Yeah, Neto, this is huge. This is big, and what a great initiative by the World Soccer Governing Board, FIFA. At least this is a mini World Cup, if you'd like to call it that way. And we are seeing the best of the best. And so far, I'm rooting for Mamelodi Sundowns simply because they are coming from South Africa and they are our neighbors. And Neto, it is high time that Africa went out there and showed the world that football was made in Africa. It is high time they stood tall, punch to punch with the rest of the world. And I've got a belief that one or two African clubs might sneak into the quarterfinals or the semifinals, and indeed maybe just go and lift the trophy itself. What more with money that FIFA is giving Neto? You are aware, we have heard that for every win, if a team wins at this year's Club World Cup, every win guarantees you about $1 million. That's a lot of money because FIFA is trying to help clubs to come out of whatever financial position they might be in, and if you were to win it, you are going to get about $40 million. And can you imagine, Neto, if by luck, okay, Mamelodi Sundowns, they win the Club World Cup and they are given 40 million United States dollars. Can you imagine how much that money will mean to Mamelodi Sundowns? It will even come into South Africa's economy. It will change a lot of things around Mamelodi Sundowns. So it is something that really it has to be encouraged. It's just unfortunate that there is no team from my country, Zambia, that has represented this continent at the World Cup in the United States. But we can only wish the teams that are there all the best, and we keep on watching. And so far, so good. And we only hope that they're not going to disappoint us at the end of the day. What more with money that FIFA is giving? Because I was reading somewhere, I don't know whether it is true or not, but they're saying if you qualify to the next stage, then you get about $4 million. That's a lot of money, even if you don't go on to win it. But can you imagine it? If you win 2 or 3 games in the group stages, then you got about $3 million. Then you go to the quarterfinals, you win $4 million. At the end of the day, if you are so lucky, if lucky is with you, you go to the finals. You might end up coming back home with something like $46 million in the African context. That is huge. That's a lot of money that can change a club just within just overnight, Neto. So they should be able to encourage other African clubs out there to do more. And I only hope that my team here in Zambia, this is the powerful Power Dynamos, that will be representing this country in the CAF Champions League. Let's hope they will get inspired so that they go all the way and win the CAF Champions League. That way, it is the only way they are going to play at the next year's Club World Cup. Otherwise, Neto, this is a good initiative, and this is a precursor for next year's World Cup. The only disappointing thing is that we are not seeing a lot of support from the Americans. They're not coming out in huge numbers. They're not trooping to the stadiums. Maybe it is the fact that Americans are not so much into soccer. They are so much maybe into basketball and that kind of stuff. But good initiative by FIFA. We only hope that Africa can rise to the occasion. And Mamelodi Sundowns, I'll be very happy if they were to lift it and bring it to Southern Africa here. I should be able to fly to Johannesburg to come and join the party and get a bit of some dollars from them. That is if they'll be able to get the $40 million that is at stake.
Namuchana, our correspondent based in Lusaka, Zambia. So Namuchana, thank you so much for your contribution on Africa at Play. Before we say goodbye, latest from Zambia?
Yeah, and that's there isn't a match that is happening here apart from the playoffs. Like you rightly put it there, we also have playoffs here. The teams from the provinces are battling it out to see which teams will have that chance to be promoted to the National League, which is Division 1, as we call it here in Zambia. So the playoffs have been here for the last 3 days. We have witnessed it. Most of these teams that are coming from other provinces, these are teams. We have got a team like Nangweshi Pirates that is coming from my province, Western Province, and they're coming as far as 700 kilometers west of Lusaka. But when you watch these boys, They marvel to watch. They play fantastic football. You can't believe it that these are boys that are based in the rural parts of Zambia. They're based in deeper villages of Western Province, but they're here in Lusaka. They're taking part in the playoffs. So far they have been fighting very hard. They have got 4 points out of 3 games. It is good, Neto, to see that we have so much talent that is lying idle there, just waiting to be tapped. I'm so happy. I watched about 3 games, and what I've witnessed, it would take somebody who has got the love of football to go out there and just bring out this talent here, so that we can have the future stars for the Zambia national soccer team. Otherwise, everyone is enjoying, everybody is even encouraging the Super League teams, the Premier League teams of Zambia to say, look, you have been looking for talent, here is talent. These are the guys from the rural parts of Zambia, battling it out, fighting for that promotion, and this is where you can identify your future stars. So this is what we have also here. We have got playoffs in it.
15:23 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our conversation with Namuchana, our correspondent in Southern Africa, in Lusaka, Zambia. So Namuchana, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Have an awesome afternoon further.
Yeah, I thank you so much, Neto, and thank you so much for having me. And today, it's not all that cold, and people can go out and at least have a throat acrobatics.
Throat acrobatics, those are the fortunate ones that are out there having a good time. We are here making certain that we broadcast to the world about African and global sport. Thank you for choosing Africa at Play. Thank you to Namuchana. We take a short break. When we come back, we've got some voice notes on the topic of the day. This is Africa at Play.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
So I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent, with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent, and to develop partnership across the continent and outside the continent, bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal, is to make Africa great for life and livelihood of the African population.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. You like what we do on Channel Africa? Then follow us on our socials. Channel Africa 1 on all social pages. And get the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
15:25 Central African Time. You are still tuned in to Africa at Play. Happy Youth Month to all the young people on the African continent. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are here in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from any corner of the world on channelafrica.co.za. We've got voice notes on the topic of the day, where we're talking about over-dependency of football associations on the African continent, their dependency on various governments across the continent, and we're asking, what can these FAs do to be independent financially? What methods can they come up with, raising funds and initiatives, mechanisms to be able to sustain themselves financially without relying on their government? Let's find out from Apiwe Ngwenya, who sent us her thoughts via a voice note.
Hi, Africa Play. This is Apiwe Ngwenya. I think the one thing that most African football associations are also dependent on is private funding. So they have to be able to appeal to private investors. It would also be nice if they could get investors from companies that are local within their countries, so don't expect from your multinationals such as Nike, Adidas, New Balance, etc. So the more local companies within those countries are able to invest, even if it's a small portion, then you're able to get a lot more companies. So for instance, if you're looking for 10 million Rand, for example, you can get 20 companies to invest 500 instead of asking for a large sum from one company. And they could also get, those companies could also get advertising during matches. So it could be in form of backdrop during interviews. It can be stadium advertising during national matches. So not necessarily have all the companies on the shirt playing. Your biggest investor may be on the shirt, but there are other forms of advertising that you can give those companies that invest, and also maybe come in the form of some investment from the public. If you say maybe open up to the public to buy shares within associations, that could also help.
Those are the thoughts of Aphiwe Ngwenya. Let's take another voice note from Bongani Chuma.
Good afternoon, Neto and the listeners. This is Bongani Chuma from Lenasia. Great show as always, my brother. Love your show. Really love it. Look, Neto, if you want to attract sponsorship, you've got to play well, Neto. You've got to play well, but it starts with good governance from those federations. Good governance where people put money where there is order, where there is proper systems in place, where there is accountability. So it got to start with how you run your affairs, and then that will filter down in making sure that you perform well. There are issue of TV deals there. You are able to leverage because you are also playing well. You leverage on those performances on the field of play. So Neto, play well. You'll see the sponsors will come flocking to you. And if you have good governance, definitely sponsors won't run away also. Thank you.
Thank you to Bongani Chuma and Aphiwe Ngwenya, and a big thank you to Bongani for showing some love for Africa at Play. 15:29 Central African Time. And thank you for choosing Africa's #1, Africa at Play. Let's take a short break. When we come back, all things Africa at Play continues.
June is Youth Month in South Africa. Celebrate Africa's young voices with us. Channel Africa, the African perspective. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning,
in time, Elokuwa Kanza, Richard Bona, and Toto, which is a song titled Lisanga. Thank you so much for choosing Africa's #1, Africa at Play. There are matches taking place across various parts of the African continent and in South Africa. As Kazakh Stars is up against Orbit College in the PSL promotional playoffs. Cape Town City is also on the cards. The top team that will get maximum points out of this mini tournament will make it to the new season of the Betway Premiership 2025-2026 season. Let's go to that live match between Kazakh Stars and Orbit College that are fighting for a place in the Betway Premiership.
Kazakh Stars benqaba beyilahlela ngasemva le ibhola bethi mayiqalwe ngusiphamandla Mlilo suswa ngunozinti ngoku uyemile Kazakh Stars adlala ibhola enhle bayibetha ngenhloko la bhola bazama uyifaka phakathi eboxini kodwa waphuma ngasemva Azikwane Muarane wayichola phansi mihlanu imizuzu esele kuphela isiqingatha sethu sokuqala losompempe kodwa amanqaku awekho ebody.
Well, 5 minutes to go in this first half, and the struggles for sides to create chances, score goals in these playoffs continues here, with neither goalkeeper being tested. No shot on target as yet, if you are just joining us. Not for a lack of trying. So far, a defender's game, I think it's safe to say. Moments, better moments for Keswick on the front foot. Still, all the efforts have seen nothing for Merani to worry about. Of the sides that have all now had a chance to play at home, Keswick have really at the best showing in the way of support, the best atmosphere in their home games by a stretch. It was a decent show out in Cape Town in the opening game for Cape Town City, but nothing matching the atmosphere at this much smaller venue, which is much easier to fill, of course. Good numbers, a good passionate crowd, and for Keswick, they'll want to make full use of this home crowd advantage. It really does give them something extra. Chauke, the latest on this near side, to try his luck against Vilagazi. We've seen Siasani also try. And even Ragwena has come over to this left side. None of them really has been able to dominate Vilagazi just yet in the right back position. There he is. Chauke in the back pocket for now.
It's still 0-0 in a match between Kazakhstan and Orbit College. It is the PSL promotional playoff match, and Cape Town City is also part of this mini tournament. And that is commentary courtesy of SABC Sport. Doing isiXhosa commentary. isiXhosa is one of the languages, the official languages in South Africa out of the official 11. And Sizwe Mabena, Click Bang, doing commentary in English, the medium of instruction. The South African Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, spoke to the media yesterday, that is Friday, on various issues, including the launch of Bugtown in celebration of South African rugby. He also highlighted the Federation International Automobile FIA approval of a Grade 1 status upgrade. South Africa last hosted the F1 Grand Prix in 1993. The minister was talking to journalists. Let's find out how did that press conference go.
Minister, if we could just start with the partnership and maybe just how excited you are to finally see the Springboks take to the field again.
Well, let me tell you something. We are waiting for the Springboks like we've never seen them before. We are all excited. There's a whole lot of rugby coming. And I don't know any person who's not excited for the games coming. And I'm going to try to attend as many of them as possible.
Yeah, and also maybe, Minister, I think that there's also just that issue with South Africans and accessibility to the Springboks, not being able to watch them on the national broadcaster. You've been very vocal about that and you promised to somewhat fix it. Is there perhaps an update on where we are right now?
Well, as you know, I've been very vocal about that. I can tell you that is high on the agenda. In fact, I'm even willing here to give my word that of all those games that's playing, one of them, the 30-year game, must be, because one of those games is celebrating 30 years, must be shown. The guys of Saru has been really helpful, I must say. I speak to the CEO, Rian. Breweries has been very helpful. These are also plans, what we are celebrating today, to bring rugby to the people, to bring rugby to areas that has not had rugby. But I can promise you, I'm going to fight very hard that at least one of the games, the most important one, should be shown for everybody to see. But we understand, we must also be honest that players in the sport benefits from having their rights when they sell their rights. Players get paid more, so we need to find that balance, and that's the discussion at the moment. We don't say show all the games, but sooner or later, government will have to make sure that the people see all the games by investing money in sport.
So, obviously, every year around this time, we're back here talking about this thing. As you say, that government will have to find a way. How feasible is that? Because at the end of this, it's going to be a issue of money.
Well, you say every year we hear. This is my first year, so I don't know what happened every year before this. But I can tell you, you saw the game against the All Blacks was shown during my term. It was shown, no, everybody saw it. So this is not just talk. South Africa has never understood the business of sport. They understood the entertainment of sport, but they didn't understand the business of sport. And if you can understand the business of sport, you can make sport much more accessible. It's feasible. You can make sport, you have to make sport available to your people, particularly when it is your national team. But we're not bulldozing through it. We are negotiating and we are looking for win-win situations for the sport, for the federations, and for the South Africans in the government.
You speak of federations, Minister. I think we've seen a few of them being hauled at the Sports Portfolio Committee. Not too many of them covering themselves in glory or the questions that they've been asked, some very tough questions. Maybe just how do we fix that and just make sure that our federations are run well, so to speak?
Well, you know, people must not lie. They must be honest that some of our federations are just a joke. You ask them, where's your office? They don't have an office. You ask them, what's your phone number? These are people that get millions. So the first thing I did, I closed the tap. Before you get any money from me, show me your office. Show me your website. Show me your address. Show me your board. Some of them has had board members sitting there for 25 years. Before some of the journalists sitting here were born. They already bought members. What nonsense is that? So what we are doing is we've taken an approach of one by one. We dealt with boxing. We've now got good people running boxing. We are now by basketball. Utter nonsense taking place there. And then we are coming to Athletics South Africa. You saw that they went to the tavern to have a meeting. I used to go to taverns myself. Where can you talk to each other? In taverns you can't even have a serious conversation. We have drunk talk in taverns. Hey, yeah, that's all. Imagine, they say they had a meeting in a tavern. I want to go to their tavern where they had a meeting and to go and illustrate how you cannot have a meeting in a tavern. So all this corruption happening in sport, where people are using the money meant for athletes for themselves, we're cutting all of that out. We are serious. This is a serious government of national unity. We're cleaning up.
Minister, can I ask you on a different note? You must be excited with the FIA's announcement. One of your babies you've been very excited about for the past, a couple of months, couple of years now so far. That announcement this past week, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for the country?
I think, when we said we're going to bring F1, people thought we were joking. People thought we were making, we are busy with jokes here. The FIA, I've met the FIA. I've met the president of the FIA. I've met the president of the F1. We sat down with the people of the Kailani group and we said government doesn't have money to pay for tracks and stuff. And Toby said he will pay for it. And he did. He did pay for it. The FIA, yesterday I spoke to the president of the FIA, last night. They're very excited with the developments, number one. Next week we're going to meet them again to hand in our bid officially in Austria. That's breaking news. So our bid is going in next week. And then the week thereafter, we shall announce the winning South African promoter. On the 1st of July, I think, we will announce the promoter that will host the F1. And then everything will be in the hands of the F1 because we have a track, we will have a promoter, we have the biggest motorsport community in Africa, in South Africa. Go to Qatar and you just see South Africans there. So I'm saying that I've made a few promises as a minister. I've made 4 big promises. First promise I made was F1. The second promise I made was VAR. The third promise I made was that artists and creatives shall now be helped so they don't die as paupers. And the fourth promise I made, which was a deeply personal one for me, was that I will make sure that in the next season that I engage business people to make sure that Blue and Celtic comes back. Those are my 4 big promises. VR is here. We must just finalize tonight at 8 o'clock. We're meeting with SAFA, President Denny Jordan. You saw F1. FIA has given the go-ahead. The discussions are at 99.9% to bring Blue and Celtic back next season. And then we have started 17 sectors that can represent all the genres of creativity and music and dance and theater so that we fund them so we can change things. So I'm a minister that keeps his promises. Hold me to those promises. We've put 90 million aside. We don't say it's going to cost 90 million. We've budgeted 90 million. But people don't understand. Part of that, there's a problem with South African sport. When my daughter went to the football, I couldn't get hold of her with her friends because there's no connectivity in our stadiums. That is nonsense. So part of the 90 journalists can't even properly give live coverage. So part of the 90 million It's not only VAR, because you can't have VAR without connectivity. So connectivity is part of that. By the 1st of July, you can look back and say, have I kept all my promises? It will be a year after my budget speech. And as the Minister of Happiness, look how happy we are. We have the best soccer in the history of our soccer in a long time. 20 games is a record for Bafana Bafana. The junior teams are winning. The women's sport, they're flying. The rugby, we're the best in the world. Cricket, what do I say? We've got Dricus du Plessis, the best fighter in the world. So all I'm saying is that South Africans just love sometimes to look at what we do wrong. But we are South Africans. We do many things right.
Minister, I want to ask you an Afrikaans question. Can I just ask you an English question? And it might sound like a dumb question. Would the Minister of Sport in South Africa want the Formula 1 to happen in South Africa or rather in Rwanda?
But I answer Afrikaans.
No, I'm English now.
No, I'm a minister. I was not appointed by President Kagame. I was appointed by His Excellency Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. I'm a South African. Ek is 'n kind van die huis. You can't compare Rwanda but with South Africa. F1 is a business. Don't forget it. For 10 years, people can come here and do a lot of other stuff. You can only watch gorillas once or twice, then you get tired of gorillas. In South Africa, there's a lot of stuff to see. There's a lot of stuff to do in South Africa. The F1 would have been making the biggest mistake by overlooking. We're not going to teach people to love motorsport like in other countries, like Morocco, like Rwanda. We are enthusiasts of motorsport. It has been here before, during apartheid. Imagine how many more people will there be. So, Rwanda, we will help them after we've received them and show them, no. Because we want them to get it, but not before us. We want Morocco to get it, but not before us. It's not in Monaco. You have Monaco, you have Imola, you have Monza. 3 races within a radius of 600 kilometers. How can the whole African continent not have one race? Nobody deserves to get it more than South Africa. We will help Rwanda get it. We will help Morocco get it. After we have it, we must be first. And I'm unapologetic about that. On merit, we deserve it.
Minister, on that note, Banyana Banyana is going to the UEFA Mother's Day title defense they're going on Monday, I believe. Your message for Banyana Banyana and within your plans, and I know you've stated your 4 main ones, the professionalization of women's football in the country.
Well, firstly, I want to tell Banyana Banyana, you guys, you came on like a house on fire. Banyana Banyana is those teams where we don't worry much when they step on the field because those ladies, they always deliver. My message to them, sorry, you want me to start over?
No, sorry.
Oh, are you here? Oh, sorry, I thought you were recording and I felt sorry for you. So Banyana Banyana is those teams where you don't need to worry about. We have the strongest, Banyana Banyana, they've even inspired Banyana Bafana. Bafana Bafana is inspired by Banyana Banyana. They can deny that all they like. We would praise the women to high heavens and we will criticize the men. And they are now so inspired that they start winning like Banyana Banyana. I want to say I've engaged Sasso in my quest to professionalize and my quest to make sure that women must be paid equally and sponsors must put more money in. I've had a meeting with Sasso and I can tell you they are already doing so much at Sasso and they promised me they will do more. And we are going to have a follow-up meeting. But it's not only Sasso. We're talking to the Betways of this world that they have assured me they're going to put more money into women's sport. Because women's sport is what will make us a greater country. Because, they are just so good. And I know we will have a special message for them. We know we'll wait for them at the airport. I know what that means. When South Africans wait for you at the airport, you know what that means. South Africans, they can be very kind and very ruthless at times. When nobody comes to the airport, the minister will stand there alone like, it's a busy day, traffic is bad, they couldn't come, making the place, sorry. But once you win, Yeah, they'll be there 6 o'clock already at the airport. So make sure that we will be waiting for you at the airport, Banyana. You guys are the best.
Ons by rugby geleentheid net een vraag. Jy praat van jy wil rugby baie meer toeganklik maak vir Afrikaners veral deur televisie. Wat is jou missie om hierdie sport veral Springbok rugby meer toeganklik te maak vir Suid-Afrikaners?
Die feit dat ons vandag hier is met Boktown is vir my 'n absolute stap in die regte direksie. Dat ons sport meer toegankliker maak om dit na die mense toe te vat. Dat ons die mense kan sien. Nie al ons mense het kabeltelevisie nie. Nie al ons mense kan die kaartjies bekostig nie. Hierdie is 'n inisiatief om sport na ons mense toe te bring. Dit is vir my en daar is nou praatjies aan die gang tussen ons en SARU en Supersport en SABC en ander kanale sodat ons seker maak dat almal hulle nasionale spanne kan sien. Thank you.
Just we know with regards to the UFC, it's been an issue trying to get a suitable location to host the UFC. What progress have we made with regards to that?
Well, we've met with UFC. At the moment, to host UFC, they've given us a venue. The venue is in Pretoria. They would never do a stadium. That's not part of the business plan. Dana White was very clear. They will not do a stadium. But at the moment, they're willing to come. UFC is willing to come. But we'll have to sell a ticket at 23,000 rands. That's insane. That's insane for us to break even. So what we are doing is we're engaging with more sponsors. So we'll need more time to do that. But they're willing to come now. But if they come, we'll have to sell a ticket at 23,000. It's not feasible. It's not going to happen. But we are now looking at other ways. That's where we are. In fact, my team is having a chat with them tomorrow morning at 2 a.m.
Maybe lastly, over the last few years, we've seen that government does not anymore have appetite to host major events in the country. Is there something that maybe going forward we will see improvement because we see all the events are going to Morocco, especially football? Are we going to be seeing government maybe having that appetite of hosting major events again?
My brother, I'm here. Since the Olympic, the IOC, we are putting in a bid for the 2036 Olympics. I come from UFC. I met with the president, Dana White, to bring it here. I have met with Live Golf for them to come here. Formula One, I'm seeing them next week to bring it here. I've met with the president of volleyball to bring it here. We are going to Monaco to go and discuss to bring the athletics, diamond, to bring it here. What more can you ask for? You have a minister that has an appetite. The government of national unity wants to bring all the events here. We are hungry for these events. It's definitely coming.
Thank you.
16:01 Central African Time. That was a press conference, rather, where South African Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie addressed the media on a variety of issues yesterday, including the Boktown in celebration of South African rugby, but also spoke about the Federation International Automobile FIA approval of a Grade 1 status upgrade. South Africa last hosted the F1 Grand Prix in 1993, and the minister also highlighted the 4 promises VAR, which is the video assistant referee in South African football, as well as the return of Bloemfontein Celtic, Siwelele Samasokolara, and also spoke about Formula One in South Africa, as well as aid for creatives and artists, but also highlighted in this last question by Mahlatsi Mphahlele, where he was asking about appetite of government hosting big events, and the minister saying they will put on a bid for the 2036 Olympics to come to South Africa, and one of the athletics event, the Diamond League, to also be hosted in South Africa. We hope and believe that all these great promises will happen in our lifetime. Let's go to Nigeria for the latest in Nigerian sport with Tony Robani. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Former Super Eagles captain John Obi Mikel has once again spoken up against corruption in Nigeria's sporting system and the debt he believes is owed after the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. John Obimike lifted the lid on one of the most embarrassing chapters in Nigerian football, revealing how corruption and mismanagement nearly derailed the country's participation in the 2016 Rio Olympics. Speaking to former England striker Peter Crouch on his podcast, the ex-Chelsea midfielder disclosed that he personally paid for the national team's flight to Brazil and is still waiting to be reimbursed 9 years later. Yet you heard me correctly. 9 years later, he's yet to be settled for the money that he used in chartering the aircraft that lifted Nigeria's team to the 2016 Rio Olympics. As Nigeria's under-23 team prepared to depart for Rio in 2016, panic set in. Mikel recalled how, despite the government's approving the budget, funds never reach the players. Talk about the corruption where a budget has been signed by the government. Somebody sitting on top of that money didn't release it, Mikel said. Players and staff were stranded in a hotel, unsure if they would even make it to Brazil. Everyone was thinking how we are going to get there. There was no money to pay for flights. With the clock ticking and morale crumbling, Mikel stepped in. I spoke to the coach. He looked for a plane and I had to pay for it. I had to fund it. Regrettably, Mikel revealed that he was never compensated, adding, "We got there and I thought now I'm going to be reimbursed my money. But up till today, I still haven't." That's the mentality. It's John Obi Mikel. He can afford it. But it's not that. It's the principle. It's the respect. Mikel's full account further exposes the dysfunctions in sports governance in Nigeria. According to him, the Nigeria Football Federation and the Nigeria Olympic Committee failed to coordinate the team's travel, leading to chaos at the airport. We waited from morning till night for a flight. There was infighting over who will pick up the tab, he explained. Mikel's decision to foot the bill spared the nation a global embarrassment and led to Nigeria clinching a bronze medal. Imagine if I had not done that, the nation and the young players in the team would not have played in the Olympics and would also not have gotten an Olympic medal. That's the joy of my sacrifice. John Obi Mikel laments about his money and mismanagement in Nigerian sporting system.
Talk about the corruption where a budget has been signed by the government and somebody sitting on top of that money didn't release that money, and we are all sitting at the hotel about to fly to, I think it was, and everyone's thinking, how are we going to get there? There was no money to pay for flight. There was nothing to do. The players were worried. And for most of those players, it's their first time of going to a major tournament. So I thought, why not? I spoke to the coach, said, how can you find a plane? Looked for a plane, and I had to pay for it. And we got there, we got there, and I thought, okay, now I'm going to get reimbursed my money. Up till today, I still haven't. That's the thinking. That's the mentality. It's going to be Mikel. He can afford it. It's not that. It's the principle. You know what I mean? It's the respect. And that's what I told him. I was like, listen, guys, yes, I've done it, but it's the principle. You know what I mean? You need to reimburse me in life, but they still didn't do it. And for me, the joy that I take out of that is that we got there, and those players, those young players, were able to get a medal, an Olympic medal. I know we finished them, but it's still a massive achievement. And for me to be able to see that for those young players, go back home to their family, knowing that they got a medal from Olympic was more than the money.
Despite this embarrassment, UFC number 5 welterweight contender Kamaru Usman has recited his love for the country of his birth, Nigeria. Although he has lived in the United States of America since he was taken there by his parents at the age of 8, Usman declared emphatically that he has so much love for Africa's most populated nation. Speaking against the backdrop of his UFC victory last weekend against Joaquin Buckley, Usman said that he felt proud being able to carry the Nigerian green-white-green flag high up once again. While admitting that Nigeria has several socioeconomic challenges that the citizens usually complain and shout, Usman, who attended Bull High School in Arlington, Texas, as well as William Penn University and University of Nebraska, stressed that he still feels lots of passion about his ancestral country. The 38-year-old former UFC middleweight champion declared emphatically, I don't know how or where it is, but there is a pride in me about Nigeria. Even for a country that is so badly managed like Nigeria, there is a pride that is in me. Kamar Usman speaks.
I don't care what sport it is. That guy's Nigerian. I already know who I'm going with. I don't know how or where it is. There's a pride. There's a dying pride in me. Even in a country that is so badly mismanaged like Nigeria, there's a pride that's in me. The moment I was in the UFC, I was holding that flag immediately. There's that pride in me to where you are, it doesn't matter where you're at. Even if I've never seen you a day in my life, Nigeria, oh, that's my brother, nah, that's my guy. Cousin. We know, you know.
As preparations for the 2025 Women Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON hot up, Super Falcons captain Rasheedat Ajibade has urged the Nigerian Football Federation to ensure the team receives full backing. The 9-time African champions will begin their quest for a record-extending 10th WAFCON title on July 6, 2025, with an opening Group B match against Tunisia at the Labji Zaoul Stadium in Casablanca. They will also face Algeria and Botswana in what is expected to be a competitive group phase. While Ajibade remains confident about the squad's readiness and ambition, she didn't shy away from calling for improved support from the football authorities, a message that echoes ongoing frustrations among players over poor treatment and lack of adequate preparation in previous tournaments. There is a lot of confidence in camp and we are committed to our goal. We all understand what is at stake, Ajibade said. Every player heading to the tournament wants to compete and win. We will give everything on the pitch, but we also know that success depends on both internal and external factors. We will continue to do our part as players, but we hope everything behind the scenes is properly handled to help us perform at our best and ultimately bring the trophy home. Ajibade's remark come at a time when several senior players have publicly criticized the federation for years of neglect and inadequate welfare, warning that off-the-pitch issues could again undermine the team's performance on the big stage. Nigeria remain Africa's top-ranked women's team, but their dominance is increasingly under threat. South Africa's Banyana are the current title holders and will be seen as Nigeria's biggest rivals. Host Morocco, one of the last African teams to beat the Falcons, will also be formidable opponents. And apparently aware of the complaints of the Super Falcons, the team has set to play 2 high-profile warm-up matches against Portugal and arch-rivals Ghana. The friendly fixtures form part of the team's final tune-up schedule before the tournament kicks off in Morocco. The Nigeria Football Federation recently announced that the 9-time African champions will take on Portugal on June 23rd. In addition, interim head coach Justin Madugu confirmed that the Super Falcons will also face Ghana in a second preparatory match, also to be staged in Morocco. Skipper Rasheedat Ajibade speaks.
Getting matches to help us prepare for the tournament ahead. But since we didn't get it, it is what it is. We have to make use of what we have. We have to focus on the future and look for the past, and which the future is the game ahead of us in the tournament. And I know that we have a talented and experienced squad, so given their best on that in the tournament, and majority of the players on the squad are experienced players, and we know how to adapt. Of course, you're here in Nigeria, you know how to always adapt to every circumstances we find ourselves. Yeah, the goal is clear. We go for what we want, and I believe we would achieve it by God's grace.
Also, Christy Ucheibe was doubly sure that the Super Falcons will restore the trophy from South Africa's Banyana in Morocco. Christy Ucheibe speaks.
Everyone is going there to fight for the trophy. We are the Super Falcons of Nigeria. We are going there as a team, as a family, and we are going there to do our best to make sure we bring the trophy home. The
chairman of the Nigerian Professional Football League, NPFL, Honorable Gbenga Elegbeleye, has come out with reasons why the much expected advent of video assistant referee VAR into the domestic competition will no longer take place next season. Many stakeholders, lovers of the Nigerian League and officials of all the competing clubs had already started looking forward to the arrival of VAR in the next contest, following a pledge in that regard by Elegbeleye during the past season. However, the former Director General of the National Sports Commission has recanted by pointing out that issues of technical expertise, non-availability of personnel, and lack of finance have forced the NPFL to rethink the plan. He stated further, though, that the top shots of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, are in full support of the installation of VAR into venues for domestic league matches, and noted giant states both governing bodies have so far taken in that direction. Elegbele said NFF shortlisted 10 of our referees who are computer literate to go to Morocco for training. We as a league had online meetings with manufacturers of VAR and producers of the machines. But after doing all that, we have now realized that before you can implement VAR for matches, you must be able to use communication gadgets, and you don't need to go all out in watching TV or the screen. The soft-spoken administrator then gave a breakdown of the intricate steps that need to be taken by officials who might be assigned to man the VAR cubicle at any MPFL match venue. You must be able to communicate with officials in the VAR room to know what is right or wrong. Secondly, you must be computer literate. Fortunately, during the last recruitment of referees, NFF insisted on computer literacy before you could allow anybody to be part of it. He concluded by admitting that another major issue affecting the implementation of VAR in Nigeria's domestic league is money matters, towards which he disclosed that the MPFA has already launched efforts in getting corporate bodies to fund the project. The stage we are now is that we are looking for sponsors to be able to acquire VAR machines. We are ready to go the way of VAR, but unfortunately, the machines are quite expensive, Elegbeleye confessed. And of course, Elegbeleye speaks.
I want to advance to the stage of having a VAR here. And now I want to tell you again that NFF shortlisted 10 of our referees who are computer literate to go to Morocco for training. All right? I think now we spoke to, we as a league, had online meeting with manufacturers of VAR and the producers of the machine. First, before you can use it, you must be able to use communication gadgets. All right? You don't need to go all out watching TV, looking at the TV, at the screen. You can communicate with those at the room, the machine room. Then they will discuss, know whether it's right or wrong. Secondly, then you must be computer literate. Now, the last recruitment of referees, NFF insisted on computer literacy before you can allow anybody to be part of. Now, the stage we are now is looking for sponsors to be able to acquire the VAR machine. We are ready to go in the way of VAR, but unfortunately, the machines are quite expensive.
It's so sad to know that indeed that Nigeria, that has been considered a giant, cannot indeed, install VAR. How are the mighty falling? The 2-week FIFA member associations course for physical and technical instructors and young talents came to a close in Abuja at the weekend, with FIFA technical instructor Ali Mohammed Ahmed publicly declaring his confidence in the ability of Nigeria's budding arbiters to reach unprecedented heights in the vocation globally. The physical and technical instructors course was activated between 9th to 13th June, while the Young Talents program lasted between Sunday 15th to Thursday 19th June 2025. President of the NFF, Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Guzo, who also doubles as president of WAFUB, told the Young Talents to endeavor to put all they have learned during the course into practice, as the Federation is in the process of elevating more of the young talents to take on higher responsibilities, such as handling matches of the Nigeria Premier Football League. I am happy that now we have a total of 86 young talents in our refereeing pool. This deeply gladdens my heart. Last year we had 40 people undertake this course, and this year we have 46. Let me reveal to you that 10 of those young talents from last year have been elevated to the MPFL, and none of them was found wanting throughout the season. Their record of performance gives great hope to yourselves and also shows that the NFF is right in our commitment to the young talents. However, in order to keep improving, I charge you to always find ways to fraternize, collaborate in all aspects, and bond together to jointly and severally enhance your capacities. Mohammed, who is from Somalia, said, I am very satisfied with the group that we worked with over the past 1 week, the young talents. Their level of assimilation is very high, and I see them going places in the work of refereeing. Please always have integrity at the back of your mind in whatever you do. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria will take part in the inaugural edition of the WAFUB Under-20 Cup of Nations. Ghana will host the competition from Thursday, July 10 to Wednesday, July 24, 2025. The tournament, originally scheduled to take place in Pram Pram from June 15 to 30, 2025, was postponed to ensure the best possible conditions for the tournament. The championship will now be competed among countries in WAFU B only. We are writing to inform that the WAFU B Under-20 Boys Cup will now take place from Thursday, July 10 to Wednesday, July 23, 2025 in Accra, Ghana. This period has been selected to ensure the smooth running of the competition following the necessary adjustments after the postponement of the Under-20 Boys Cup of both WAFU A and B. We aim to provide the best possible experience for all 7 of our member associations. A statement from the WAFU B Secretariat stated the Flying Eagles will use the competition as part of their preparation for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. The skipper of Nigeria's Under-20 Flying Eagles, Daniel Bamayi, speaks.
Yes, but for everybody, because this is the World Cup, everybody wants to be there with the best of their best. Everybody wants to prove, everybody wants to show, and then this is football. We don't call any country a small country because it's football, and anything can happen. That is how we believe in preparation. I believe in preparation and hard work. It all depends on the level of federation and hard work. It puts blank results. Training sections, practice sessions, because the more you train, the more you practice, the better you become.
And as Flying Eagles skipper Bamaye believes that prep matches, the team will get better for the World Cup in Chile. Truly, they need to do better in Chile because the last time a Nigerian team played at the same competition in Chile, it was a total disaster. After so much hype and great expectations, the then national Under-20 men's football team, the Flying Eagles, led by Coach Chris Udemezu of blessed memory, put up a dismal outing at the 1987 FIFA Under-20 Championship in Chile. Pitched against Brazil, Italy, and Canada, the star-studded team failed to win a single match and crashed out at the group stage. We pray that these things do not repeat itself, once this team also gets back to Chile. For Channel Africa Sports, Tony Ubane reporting from Lagos, Nigeria.
50 anos atrás, Moçambique ergueu-se. Do peso da guerra e dos sussurros de liberdade, ao grito da independência, não foi fácil. A luta foi longa, o custo elevado, mas o espírito inquebrável. Hoje, Moçambique celebra 50 anos de liberdade, do Rovuma ao Maputo, do Zimbo ao Índico, das margens às aldeias. Isto é mais do que um aniversário, é uma lembrança. Num dia 25 de junho, junta-te a nós para honrar o passado e brindar o futuro. Moçambique @50. A jornada, a alegria, o legado, numa perspectiva africana.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
16:20 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play as Deleli Siashaya. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere you are on channelafrica.co.za, also available on SABC+. Please do visit our Channel Africa website should you have missed out on any of our conversations, and click on programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you can click on more and listen to those conversations when you have time to do so. It's time for sports news. Thank you for choosing Africa's #1, Africa at Play. Starting off with football news. Zambia women's national soccer team coach Nora Hopklele has announced her final 24-member squad for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON. Hopklele has selected a team which comprises of internationals and local stars, and the team has assembled for camp on the 19th of June before shifting base to Morocco for an international training camp set to commence on the 24th of June 2025. Zambia is in the same group alongside Morocco, Senegal and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Zambia will first trade tackles with Morocco on the 5th of July at the Olympic Stadium in Rabat. Still in football news, Bafana success in the field of play is set to benefit South African football fans, with lucky supporters in line to win travelling packages to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON tournament in Morocco in December, and possibly to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This was announced during the launch of Bafana Sponsors Honor new 400 and 400 Pro phones in Kyalami last night. The travel packages are set to start with Bafana's Crunch World Cup qualifier against their arch-rivals Nigeria in Bloemfontein in September, as the South African Football Association SAFA Commercial and Marketing Manager Errol Madlala explains.
What's exciting for us is that there are two ways at which you can watch Bafana and get behind the scenes experience and the money can buy. So because Honor is our partner, anyone that buys the 400 or the 400 Pro that was launched today, they get a chance to win a money can't buy experience where they all flown to Johannesburg, then we will bus to Mangaung to join Isiwelele to watch Bafana play against our nemesis Nigeria in the World Cup qualifier. What more can we expect from a footballing experience like that? But it doesn't end there. So the further competition, then the second winners, they go to Morocco to join us when we try to improve on our bronze medal and win the cup. We're quite excited about that our partners are going with us to give a money can't buy experience to users who are football fans as well as their customers which drive their business, because the importance for us as SAFA is that we must understand what our partners are looking for to win in the market. Honor wanted to close the gap with the market leader. Now they want to be number one in South Africa. We are the perfect partner for them to take them there.
After Bafana's heroics in Cote d'Ivoire, where they returned with a bronze medal for the first time in 24 years last year, the team's stocks has risen. They have seen most of their competitive matches played in front of sold-out crowds. Madlala says Hugo Bruce's team has made their job easier.
It's very good. It's a very big year, 2025. The technical department have done absolutely amazing stuff on the field of play. Hugo Bruce and his charges have done an amazing job. So when we go to play against Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers, we're taking Honor 400 and 400 Pro winners with us to Mangaung so that they can get a behind-the-scenes experience with Bafana. Further to that, we're going to take them to Morocco to join us in Marrakesh and Agadir to watch us play and try and win this tournament after a long time. So we are quite excited about phase 1 and phase 2, but more exciting is phase 3 and 4, which watch this space.
Things will get even more interesting next year if Bafana qualifies for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States. Madlala, who has returned around Bafana's commercial outlook since he joined SAFA 2 years ago, reveals that fans are in for a treat.
Phase 3 and 4 talks about Mexico, Canada and the USA and Bafana qualifying for the World Cup. We must plan for it. We must talk positivity to the universe and show faith in our boys and plan for it. So phase 3 and 4 with Honor will be taking Honor winners all the way to the USA to follow Bafana. We're quite excited that they're taking a journey with us in all 4 phases to show support. We want to ensure that Bafana is a key vehicle and how we're going to reach number 1 in 2028.
Madlala, a former Castle Lager Sports sponsorship manager who used to handle the Bafana account, says the team's positive results under Bruce have made things easier for him as a marketer to attract sponsors for the team.
I think it's what the boys have done on the field of play. It has created removed for different sponsors who will always use performance as an excuse. So we find that the conversations now cannot start with performance. They start with opportunity. They start with us asking them what is it that they want to get in their market, in their competitive space, because we know that if the boys are doing well on the field and us find the partners that are clear on how they want to use Bafana and our national teams as a property, we can all win. Because we want to see Honor as number 1 in 2028 and we want to then after that ensure that we can go back to our winning days where we qualify for all major tournaments all the time.
Chelsea were winning 1-0 and cruising into the knockout stages of the Club World Cup, only to collapse with victory in sight. Brazilians Flamengo scored twice, and then Nicolas Jackson was sent off for a dreadful high tackle that left his team with a mountain to climb in searing afternoon heat. Pedro Neto had put them ahead in the 14th minute with a classy solo goal, and Chelsea looked to set to go on and win the game with possibly the group to show their intent out here. They should still go out to the next round, but the manner of their outgoing with less than half an hour to go and the reckless tackle by Jackson has tainted their previously flawless performance in the new expanded competition. In cricket news, Cricket South Africa Director of National Teams and High Performance, Enoch Nkwe, says they are already negotiating with their counterparts in major cricket playoffs playing nations to have more test cricket scheduled for the men's national team. The Proteas have recently won the World Test Championship, but played significantly less tests, with 12 in the 2-year cycle, than the so-called Big Three. Both Australia and India clocked 19 matches, while England played the most with 22. Nkwe says they are pushing to go back to having a minimum of at least 3 matches per series.
And in terms of the next cycle, we currently negotiating with other boards around the world, obviously to try and get in as much Test cricket as possible. So, yeah, like Coach Shukri said, you know, it's something that is completely out of our control. We can't say much about what ECB or Australia or the Big Three, say about world cricket and that. But if we get asked in terms of how do we contribute towards that in impacting world cricket, we'll stand up and have our say. But as things stands, we're negotiating strongly, to have more Test cricket, and hopefully everything can fall into place that we can actually play a minimum of three match Test series, moving into post 2027.
Nkwe says although they realize the need also to focus on white ball cricket over the next 2 years, particularly with the 50-over World Cup played on home soil in 2027, the main priority will remain the red ball game. He says it's important to have the country's best players taking part in the longest format.
We did discuss in terms of how we're going to go about it, how we need to prioritize different formats at different times. But at the core of it, it was always, number one priority was always going to be Test cricket. That is one format that we all agree that we're going to make sure that is consistent. We make sure all the players, our best available players, are playing in that format, as we believe it's our number one format. And with an understanding that year by year we'll have different ICC events, and how do we obviously make sure that we manage players accordingly, and we give ourselves the best chance in every ICC event that comes along, that we can actually win.
Nkwe spoke of the reasons behind the reintroduction of the convener of selectors this year to support Coach Shukri Conrad during the next 2 years and help manage his workload, especially after also being appointed limited overs coach in May.
And obviously, moving forward into the next cycle, especially leading up to 2027, it was important for us, obviously, to look at how best do we actually, put a stronger support structure for the coach, to allow the coach really to be able to focus on the performance of the team and not to be distracted, because it's going to be a very, very important journey to 2027. If you look at the content already, for this year, it's heavy, and we really need Coach Shukri to be able to be in his best pace and really zoning in on the team moving forward within obviously the team performance strategy. So yeah, we had to look at how best do we support him, and hence obviously the structure. We're looking to bring back the structure.
The highly experienced administrator in cricket, Nkwe, also believes that the recent success will make their job a lot easier for approaching other boards and will also help elevate South Africa's status even in other formats. He says it will also serve as motivation for the next generation of the country's cricketers.
This restores a lot of faith, a lot of belief in South African cricket. I mean, we always look at this format as a foundation, like Coach Chukri said, as a foundation to key fundamentals and to other formats, and obviously the growth of cricket, not only in South Africa but globally. And what's encouraging now is that this is going to motivate a 15-year-old, 11-year-old, a 19-year-old who's about to graduate from high school going into senior cricket. And now they're going to look at this completely different compared to how they looked at it before. Like you say, there's a lot of T20 cricket. But again, this is going to be really, really encouraging and motivating.
In rugby news, the Bogtown was launched at the SAB headquarters in Bryanston, Johannesburg, as a spirited celebration of South African rugby and unity. The event was hosted in anticipation of the Springboks' upcoming fixtures and brought media and key industry stakeholders together in a festive, proudly South African atmosphere. The event was graced by prominent dignitaries, including Gayton McKenzie, Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, who delivered a stirring message about the role of sport in national pride and community building. Also in attendance was Mark Alexander, President of SA Rugby, who emphasized the importance of fan engagement and the legacy of the Springboks. Let's hear from Boks Looks Forward, Eric Lowe.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think obviously it's been going well with the Springboks, and we've been winning. The Springbok brand has been growing, so I'm really excited to see all the new sponsors coming together, supporting the brand and helping everybody move forward.
Maybe how are you doing? How's the league going? Do you have a time frame on what things will take?
Yeah, no, it's going well. It's going really well. I think at the stage we were unsure if I'll ever be able to play rugby again, so just getting the news that everything went well in surgery and I'll be able to play is really positive for us. But the timeline is about 7 months left. I think to be safe, I'll only be able to play February next year. It's quite difficult, and I think actually eye-opening for me. Just to put everything in perspective again, why I play rugby and how much I love it. So no, it was difficult to get over it, and just the fact that I won't be able to play this year or even play in a Bok jersey this year. But it doesn't help being negative. I think I realized that quite quickly, and just see everything. There is obviously positives in a bad situation. She's sitting at the stands in Dublin, having, I think it was like 50,000 Leinster fans in the stands, and then just seeing how the guys performed. I think it was tough to know how good the team actually is and how they performed. I don't think we've put our fingers on it exactly, but I think the experience that we've gained within the finals we've played now is massive, and I think hopefully that can push us through at a stage. No, I'm obviously really excited about the guys that's going to play this year. Obviously Cameron is also out, so there is space open for somebody else to fill the void. But yeah, now I'm really excited to see who really puts their hands up. Obviously competition in a team is very important to raise the standards, and I think the good thing about South Africa rugby and the Springboks is we don't do it for ourselves, we do it for something bigger. And I think as soon as you realize that, your competitor is your teammate, and he's a guy that has to help you or you help him to make the Springbok jersey better. And I think I barely made the Kranjak team when I was a matric. Never made it when I was in grade 11 or in earlier stages of my life. So no, it's not the be-all, end-all. I think you must just get yourself into some sort of a team, even if it's varsity cup or club rugby. Just my main thing is game time. If you play rugby, you'll be seen. Yeah, no, I think that role will more be filled at the Bulls, at the provincial union, not as much at the Boks. But I think it's massive. I think about when I came into the setup at the Bulls, guys like Dwayne Vermeulen, Arden Botha, all of them were still there, and you almost have big eye when you walk into the room. So yeah, I think I'll like to fulfill that role to somebody that's coming in new.
And finally, in tennis news, Alexander Zverev's quest for a first grass court title took an unexpected turn at the Halle Open on Friday when the German second seed was forced to sprint from court to vomit mid-match before rallying to defeat Italy's Flavio Cobolli 6-4, 7-6. Second seed Zverev started the match on the front foot by breaking in the first game, but as he was serving in the second, he requested a toilet break to throw up and bolted down the tunnel. Once he returned, Zverev struggled with the intensity at first and clearly looked unwell, bending over in exhaustion after points and gasping for breath after a marathon rally. Although nowhere near 100%, Zverev held a swerve as he slowly drew on his reserves of energy, firing in his first ace of the match on set point. The second set was an even contest as Cobolli relied on his movement to continue troubling Zverev, but the German eventually triumphed in a close tie-break, finishing the match with 22 winners and 12 points at the net. The semi-final pits Zverev against Russian third seed Daniil Medvedev, familiar foe, who holds a 12-7 head-to-head advantage and has won their last 3 meetings. Football and music, you can never separate the two if you attend a football match, often building up to the match, and during halftime breaks you will enjoy awesome sounds of music. It is the time of the moment where we can enjoy an awesome sound of African music by Oxlade Ovami featuring Flavor. This is Africa at Play as Delil Siashai.
No fairy tales, just the facts and the music you love on Channel Africa. With Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepu Kholikweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m., 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepu Kholikweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m., 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10.
Channel Africa, et nous aurons un invité, Elisha Katolo, qui lui va nous parler de la jeunesse africaine, comme c'est le mois de la jeunesse en Afrique du Sud. Merci.
Merci. This is Channel Africa from an African perspective. We never disappoint. 5 languages, Portuguese, French, English, Chinyanja, and Kiswahili. Those are the languages that you get to enjoy the broadcasts on right here on Channel Africa. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere you are online on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC Plus. Let's now take a quick flight to Kampala in East Africa in Uganda, where our correspondent Simon Boza is standing by with the latest.
Once again, welcome to Africa to Play. And from Kampala, the Ugandan national senior women's football team, the Crested Cranes, suffered a humiliating exit from this year's CECAFA Women Challenge Cup after losing 3 out of the 4 round-robin games they played. Uganda lost to Burundi 1-0 in the opening game, beat South Sudan 5-0 in the second game, before losing 4-0 and 2-0 to Kenya and Tanzania respectively. After losing to Tanzania on Thursday night, Coach Share's Boats hailed her team for a good fight.
I'm very proud of them. I think this was one of the best games that we've played in this whole tournament. We worked a lot on our positions within the formation that we wanted to play today. We studied Tanzania very well. We knew there was space behind that we could capitalize on. We knew that they were strong in the midfield. We knew that they were overloading the midfield. We knew that they were pushing with 6-7 players into the final third. So we knew that our defense had to be compact. So, but they a very quick transition team, and you could see that through the goal. The second goal where they switched the ball so quickly to the inferior side because the players were ball orientating. But I'm really proud. It was a good fight. I thought we had good opportunities, especially in the set pieces, the corners. I thought that Tanzania looked a bit vulnerable, especially with set pieces, corners against. And I thought we had some opportunities to score today. We wanted to win. But lapse of concentration in the first goal, a poor clearance. And then obviously late in the second half, Tanzania managed to score a goal. Yes. For me, this is a senior tournament, but I thought I would combine it, bring some under 20 players, like I said the other day, that we're preparing for World Cup qualifiers in September, and I don't want the girls to wait and experience this tournament, or at least to compete. I thought the fact that we could play against Kenya has given me now, my first time at CECAFA, an idea. This is where we need to be. Playing against Tanzania, they're a different kind of team. They're not the same as Kenya though, but they play a different brand of football. But we need to know, we know now, the girls have had a chance to experience it. I thought the fact that we could come to CECAFA was a great decision from FUFA, and I really want to thank the President Magogo for allowing us to come at such short notice. But the girls did very well. In going forward, I would like CECAFA to do more for women's football, really is my request. We need to play more football on the continent. We need more competitions. And I know they're going to most probably sit after this tournament. I mean, the tournament is amazing. I'm looking forward to under 15 CECAFA, under 20, under 17s, and then obviously the seniors. But maybe the senior tournament could most probably, I don't know if they'll find the space, but maybe going forward, if we can have the CECAFA tournament for seniors in a FIFA window, then we can bring all our senior players. Every country can then bring all these senior players to this tournament. And I think it will just lift the standard of football in the CECAFA region. Because now, I've spoken even to South Sudan. South Sudan has also an under 20 strictly development players. So it was good for them. But the likes of Kenya, I thought they were amazing. Even tonight, Tanzania. Then we know we've got to bring only our senior players, and they will all be available. None of our senior players really could come. And because some of them are in Europe, still playing in Denmark. So it was difficult for us really to bring senior players. So we brought only local players, with the exception of one player that's playing in Tanzania, because the league stopped, I think, 3 weeks ago.
And last week, the government of Uganda read the national budget for the financial year 2025-2026, and sports walked away with 508 billion shillings. Now, National Council of Sports General Secretary Bernard Ogwell says most of the money will be used to develop infrastructure ahead of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations co-hosting with Kenya and Tanzania. Ogwell explains.
We anticipate that we will be able to finish our projects because government have allocated the resources that we had asked for. They have not declined on capital development, especially on training facilities and the stadiums. The resources have been provided in the budget. That gives us confidence that we shall meet our target. The second aspect is that the subventional budget will support National Council of Sports to be able to support the associations and federations who would have fulfilled the requirement of registration. That means the next financial year they will run the activities normally. And that means being a qualification circle for Los Angeles 2028 for the Olympics and Paralympics would be on the right trajectory. Our athletes preparing and participating at national, regional, continental, and global championships. Effectively, that means we are positioning ourselves to participate in all the earmarked global and continental competitions. But again, to Naval Council function effectively and promote sports on behalf of government.
Let's talk club football, because Uganda Revenue Authority Football Club and ASEC Mimosa were declared winners of the Global Award for the FIFA Club Management and Professionalization. Uganda Revenue Authority Football Club Chief Executive Officer Alan Munaba explains the award and its benefits.
We started by analyzing, asking ourselves the question of what URA offers, the products URA offers. So from then we did a domain mapping, of course as a club, carrying out a situation analysis of URFC, the SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, possible opportunities and the threats. Then after that, we moved on to the actual strategic planning, where we set our vision, goals and objectives, and linked the goals to the objectives, or through, of course, using the performance measurement indicators, which were SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So we drew up a plan that was well structured from the executive summary up to the implementation stage. FIFA will be extending its help, of course, in terms of giving us a grant to carry out most of the activities, because we presented the plan and they had, of course, promised and fulfilled their pledge now. Promised that the clubs that would have the best plans would be availed with facilitation, of course, starting with that trip to New York for benchmarking, to see how the clubs and the whole dichotomy and the football business works. So they will be extending expertise, of course, knowledge, and then the grant.
And lastly, from Kampala, the Africa Scrabble Federation president arrived in Kampala this week on the Africa Junior Cup Trophy Tour that will see him visit more countries, including Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa. Adekeyero Adegebesan visited Gayaza Junior School, one of the best Scrabble playing schools in Uganda, and promised to give the school more support.
So what we've seen here has been very encouraging. It's surpassed our expectations. And Panasa, from what we've seen here, will give Gayaza Junior School any support they want in Scrabble to make sure that the progress they have made so far, that it continues. We have well over 1,000 kids that are here, and we know that they would need so many equipment to be able to continue their Scrabble journeys, and we will prioritize this school from what we've seen. Whatever they need in terms of materials to train, boards to play on, the Pan-African Scrabble Association will look after that need and make sure that they have more than enough to be able to learn Scrabble.
And that is all we had from Kampala. My name is Sam Poza.
16:50 Central African Time. You are still tuned in to Africa at Play. A big thank you to Sam Mpoza, our correspondent, for bringing us up to speed with regards to the latest in Ugandan and East African sport. Andy Mali is joining me for the Producer's Corner before we say goodbye. Andy Mali, sad news coming up about the legendary commentator, the legendary sport broadcaster Phumlani Msibi from SuperSport. May his soul rest in peace. Your reaction? Good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play.
Thank you very much, Neto. Well, good afternoon as well to Channel Africa listeners, Africa at Play listeners across the continent and across the globe. Well, it's a very sad day for sports broadcasting. It's a dark cloud. We woke up to the news of the passing of Phumlani Msibi. Well, he's one of well-known TV presenters. He has been on radio. We've seen him doing boxing boxing matches, doing commentary and also pre-fight and post-fight interviews. So it's a great loss to South African broadcasting industry. I mean, this is the guy whom as many people that have learned from, because he also mentored a lot of people, because we've seen also, based on the reaction after his passing, people coming up with those stories, how they were helped by Phumlani to be where they are today. So it's a very, very sad day.
Yeah, and also well known for his popular saying when asking questions to coaches, because he's also been on the field as a touchline expert, and every time you will hear him saying, "Coach, your thoughts, please."
Your thoughts, please. Yes, that was one of his lines, and he was known for that. He was 57 years old, Neto, and his death came, I think it was late last night, but it was made publicly earlier today, in the early hours of today, which is Saturday, So it's a very sad passing. He was currently working for SuperSport, as you've said, and started maybe around 2005. That's when he started to show up on our television. So it's been a long time. It's almost, 20 years since I've known him and seen him on TV. So it's a great loss, Neto. It's very sad.
May his awesome soul rest in peace, and we request for strength to the family, the friends, and all the sports-loving people that used to follow this legendary broadcaster, Phumlani Msibi. May his soul rest in peace. Let's move on with life. Talking about football, the playoffs in South Africa, Kaizer Stars up against Orbit College. This has been a playoffs with rare finding off the back of the net by the forward players. We've seen matches ending in a 0-0 draw, but a beautiful goal through deflection scored by Orbit College from the Northwest Province, silencing Vafumeri, which means the believers, Kaizer Stars. What do you make of these playoffs? Will Cape Town City reclaim their position in top flight football, or one of these two teams will be elevated?
Well, Neto, it's been very interesting, but as you have said, it's dry and it's funny how we haven't seen many goals, as much as these teams are hungry to go to the next level, so you'd expect them to have their targets men ready, but I guess also the level of defense is very high in these playoffs. Also, the role that is played by the goalkeepers, because their duty is to prevent goals. So I guess in terms of strikers, they've been lacking goals, it's obvious, but also the goalkeepers and the defenders, they've been doing their job. That game is over now. Kaizer Stars are closer to that coming to the Premier Soccer League, which is the Premier League of the South African football, So it's very interesting to see how it has played off. Cape Town City, very unfortunate to be where they are, and it's been interesting so far, and hopefully that maybe the new teams from the lower division can get a chance, to play, because some of these clubs have been founded many years ago. Some have even tasted top flight football, So this means they will have opportunity to certain funds that are being given these teams at the top flight, and also maybe expose them to continental football if they play well. So it's a good opportunity and a good one to see new teams coming in.
The likes of Esperance de Tunis and Mamelodi Sundowns are representing the African continent very well at the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup. Esperance de Tunis beating Los Angeles FC by 1-0, and Mamelodi Sundowns are on the summit of Group F after a victory in their first match. They will be taking on the Yellow Wall Borussia Dortmund from the German Bundesliga. Your thoughts on that match?
Well, it will be an interesting encounter, Neto. I think Sundowns have done their homework on this club because they don't want to lose, especially given the fact that they are sitting on the summit of the table. It's a positive one. Hopefully they can manage to win. I mean, every team can be beaten, Neto. We've seen Real Madrid struggling against a team from Saudi Arabia, Al Hilal. One would have expected them to win that game, but it was not to be. So this is a different level of the competition, and all the teams that are there, they deserve to be there, and they are top teams in their various leagues, and they've won something very credible, So for them to be there, I feel like it's kind of equal, having seen the previous games and how it played out. So, yeah, Mamelodi Sundowns, with that, not doing quite well. Al Ali as well, experienced the Tunis, so we've been getting mixed reactions for African teams, but they have the opportunity. I feel like they are equal to other clubs. There's no small club at the FIFA Club World Cup. I mean, this is the summit of club football, And also a positive spin about this Club World Cup is that these players will be paid, these teams will be paid quite hefty.
Just before we say goodbye, a quick one on your thoughts on the minister. You got to rub shoulders with him on the launch of the Bogtown.
Well, Neto, I maybe I should reserve my opinion because I feel like there's a lot that needs to be done. Minister, someone who was always on the public eyes, saying things. Some things he did achieve, but I feel like there's still more that needs to be done. I mean, on the show we hosted parents here of children who have opportunities overseas. Those children couldn't go overseas, So I feel like he should be attending to those things. We've seen boxers struggling as well. We've seen quite a number of things that needs his attention. So I feel like in some things, he did well, but there's a lot that still needs to be done.
That's how we wrap up our Producer's Corner on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. This is Africa at Play. A big thank you to our audiovisual streaming team, and a thank you to the special lady, Catherine Chuchu TV Maleka, our technical operator, and my producer, Andisi Wefagima Luzobona Mali. And from the rest of the Africa at Play team, thank you for listening. My name is Neto, Neto Chemane. Hosiati, Konyangazi, Mumka, Japandle Kunjani, Moyani, Vogo Dendele. We will be back tomorrow, same place, same time, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central African Time. Africa and the world. Life is about 2 rules. Rule number 1, never give up. Rule number 2, always remember rule number 1. Africa at Play. Asteleli Siashaya. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.